When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode.
I think people are too short-sighted in this day and age of working. That's the pandemic. I think the pandemic changed a lot of people's viewpoint on work. Everyone wants to do a 4-day work week and make 6 figures a year. And I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, I'm working in the wrong field then.
Exactly. And I think there's just the work ethic is just diminished.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in the exec protection industry, especially, it's like shift work, like being a cop. It's like being a firefighter. You know, you're to work shift, like 12-hour days is on average. Hardly do you see 8-hour days. Hardly ever.
If I do, I'm like, whoa, this is like, should I fall asleep and my phone's going to ring right now? Like, I don't know.
And especially in LA, the LA market, people want that 12-hour day. If you put out 8-hour minimum, no one's they're going to wait for that 12-hour day to make that $500, $600 day. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is in Los Angeles. Yeah. In Los Angeles, it's like it's its own little world. Compared to San Francisco, it's its own little world.
Tell me about it. I work both.
What do you think about those two different markets? They're totally opposites. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big one. That's a really big one.
It is. It's like, there's a lot of entitlement in San Francisco, but then as well as LA too. San Francisco, I mean, it's sad that, you know, San Francisco PD is hated out there, but yet so needed. After like the George Floyd stuff, and, you know, they have no respect out there. And it's really sad because the moment that San Francisco PD is called out there for a call, they're like, oh, you know what? We changed their mind. We don't need them arrested. Okay. This is what's wrong with society. Bad people do bad things to good people. Do you not understand that? So, but, you know, I see that, but you also see it in LA as well. You know, and not just those two, but it's all over the world. You know, there's no respect for police, but the entitlement, you nailed it on this whole thing. It's entitlement. It's this generation. And I'm sad to say that I'm raising kids in this generation. It's such entitlement. Like, well, I'm entitled. Like, I have this voice. I should be entitled to be heard and this and that. Okay. I like the old school. I'm old school. You know, I was taught like, hey, you speak when you need to speak. If it's something logical, makes common sense, and, you know, it's not stupid coming out of your mouth. You
think there's too much emotion tied to this?
Yeah.
How come? Why is that? Why is the emotion so strong with this generation of entitlement? What's
social media? Social media.
Oh, media. Okay.
I think that, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I'm going to date myself. I mean, I had a pager. Cell phones just were like coming out, you know, like,
cool iPhone.
You know, we did like things in pager code or whatever. Like, and that was like in high school. So it's like, wow, you know, so we didn't have computers. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have like Instagram and all that. Thank God it probably I'd be in trouble as a teenager, but because I'd be posting everything while my parents out of town having a party. No, I never did. Oh, what, you guys went live on Facebook and Instagram.
We know everything.
Oh, yeah. So I really think that social media plays a big part of it. A lot of everything in this industry. I mean, not with this industry. Let me rephrase that. I think it plays a part in the world and society that we are in right now. You know, you got young girls that are now young girls and men, and the younger generation, they know that they can make money as an influencer, and they are entitled to all of that because people will listen to it. And if you notice, there's so much garbage and that's just why I also got out of a little bit off of Instagram, is because it's garbage on it. It's like time wasted that I'm never going to get back because I'm watching some stupid thing or technique. And I'm like, why are people teaching techniques like this? Or why are people teaching or doing executive protection and posting their celebrity friend or like their client? And you're like, this is garbage. But people follow it. They do. And so and everybody wants to be famous, Instagram famous, social media famous. Me, I just want to run a business. I really want to just do me. And I was fortunate that I got all of these followers, and I'm super grateful for it. But I see a lot of entitlement. I think also from the news, if you think about media wants to get the best they want to get the best story first. So they'll sugarcoat or leave words out to make it better than what it is. And then what do kids do? They listen to it and it's word for word. Whatever was posted on the news, like guns. Guns are bad. Guns kill people, Yes, they do, but they also protect people. They kill people in the wrong hands. If the gun it gets in the wrong hand, it does. But they also are used to as an equal playing field to protect ourselves. I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think?
Yeah, I think, like you said, back when we were in the industry getting in it, there was no LinkedIn, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. It was Craigslist if you're lucky. And you had a BlackBerry to communicate on and a pager to respond on. That was all we had back then. And you showed up, and that's where you networked with the team you worked with, and you did a good job. You showed up, and you just build your name out there by work ethic.
Yeah.
Is by your work ethic. You did a great job. You showed up 15 minutes prior for briefing. Okay. All right. And they gave you little tests. They were a little harder on you for a few weeks to test you out. And then after a few weeks, they go, okay, all right, you'll be fine. We can make it. In the Middle East, families do the same thing.
Right.
If you start working in detail with the royals, they'll put you through like a little boot camp for about 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And they play games like no other with you. They'll manipulate you. And they'll play with you. They'll treat you like the adopted stepchild you never knew you were. Wait a minute. You're in America, but you're treating me like crap for 2 to 3 weeks. They do this to you. The nannies manipulate you. And they just blow you off. And all of a sudden one day, Mark, come, eat. Right. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
They're putting you through a test. You went through that too, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'd get home and I'm like, I just need a glass of wine right now because I just totally feel like I've been mentally fucked. I'm like, I'm sorry for the word like that, but it's like, I am so like, what is going on right now? Because
mental games.
Yeah. You said jump how high? Wait a minute. I'm still trying to protect the principal here. Like, and then you're in the way here. And then you're telling me I'm in the way because I'm like in photos, but I'm out of the way. But then it's like, where do you want me to go? Like, what do you want? Like, I'm like, forget it. I just need to go have some wine, please.
And they'll play games with you because there's a pecking order with that principal you're protecting. Because you have the nanny, you have the handler.
Yeah.
And then you have the nannies who've been with that principal for years since they're a baby. That's just how it works in their family. And those nannies will protect their person they take care of. And then you have the handler, then you have the executive assistant. There's a whole circle of people around that one principal that you have to get through.
Yeah.
And they're just playing games with you for 3 weeks until they go, okay, they're cool. And then next thing you know, they're taking you shopping, they're buying you purses and nice stilettos. And the next thing you know, on a private jet, I pulled my friend Barbara on the detail, and she texts me, I'm jumping on the private jet going to Seattle with XYZ. I'm like, what? This is your first detail and you're on a private jet going to Seattle from Havana. What the heck?
It's like, thank you.
That's how it works.
It does. It's hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious at the time because I'm like sitting here going, you got to be out of your mind. Like, I can't, it's just like, I can't figure this out, but I can, but I don't have time to, because I'm always on the move.
The trick is you're in their culture, even though that family's in America. As Americans, we're thinking we're working in our American culture, but you're in their culture, in their world, and they're not changing just because they're in America. And so the games start. They're like games of boot camp for 2 to 3 weeks. Goes until they go, okay, they put up with us, they made it, and then they're nice to you after 3 weeks. That's just how they work.
100%. And you know what? Because of the fact that I've started to work with some loyal families, I really try to figure out where they're from and their cultures, and I really respect that culture, especially with women. Understanding when like how to open the door for them and making sure that they're properly dressed before they go into the public. Making sure that like with tattoos, like, some families, Hebrew is not, because some Jews were very upset with them, and so they got to be worried about that. And I have a tattoo that says Krav Maga on my forearm here. I actually have an appointment to get it removed because and it has nothing to do. I mean, I worked really hard for that tattoo because it's a black belt thing, but
you have a black belt?
I do in Krav Maga. Yes.
Hey guys, gals, did you catch that? Don't mess with her. She'll kick your butt.
I'm that light switch that goes on and off. Yeah. So out of respect, I just, I have scheduled an appointment to get it removed because just because that's my thing. I don't have to. But out of respect, because they respect us, I need to be able to respect them as well.
True. Good point.
Females are needed.
They are needed. Mm-hmm. And if you're just joining us, we have Renee Stringer, right?
Yes.
On the podcast. Make sure I pronounce her last name correctly. And she is the lightest tactics on Instagram, but known as Renee on LinkedIn. That's where she is most of her business. And she wanted to join us on the podcast to just share her story of what she's been doing in the corporate world, in the ET world, in the Bay Area, in LA. And so we're having a chat with her. And this reason why I'm doing this right now, to give that probably going to the second episode now after that 35-minute mark. So if you're asking, well, why is Mark saying all this? Because if someone's tuning in our second episode, they'll understand who Renee is. And Renee, where can they find you? You said what, Linus Tactics Instagram?
Yeah, I have a website, Linus Tactics. So you can check me out there. I have Instagram, Linus Tactics. I go by, and then on LinkedIn, I go by Renee Stringer. They can find. Honestly, if you just Google Renee Stringer, I'm pretty much all over the internet.
Gotcha. And Renee's done an amazing job. She was at the SHOT Show, and she was like busy at the SHOT Show on LinkedIn because of all the partnerships she has. And she's an amazing networker, and she was all over the place over there for 3 days, and she must have wore herself out. So congratulations on all those ambassador partnerships you got over there.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I'm happy to say that I kind of got rid of some ambassador partnerships just because I can't give the love and the TLC that I can do anymore. I've been getting really busy with executive protection as well as training and teaching. I want to be able to focus on those two things that I love and also give the companies the love that they need. And so I finally just said to certain companies that I wish I could totally represent you guys and I want to, but I can't because I can't give you the love. Because you sign these contracts and some of them say you need to post like 2 days out of the week, plus you have to do like 8 stories. And, I can't do that between a mom, a wife, working, traveling, teaching. Then for me, I want to be a student too. So I want to go train. I just don't have that time, but I am very fortunate to be with some really good companies, and SHOT Show definitely brought some great opportunities for me. And I can't wait to share the biggest one. I can't do it now, but I have a pretty big opportunity coming up. Super.
And you're going to East Coast for that, right?
I am next week. Yeah. Monday I'll be in Alabama. Yeah.
Okay. For that client, for that partnership affiliation.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. And go ahead.
Now these ambassador roles, they pay you, right? Or they pay you for wearing the stuff, and they use a coupon code that you wear, that you put on your post, and then you get credit, like a commission, basically. Do they pay you like 6 figures a year, like that's and get $1 million a year?
I'm sure honestly, I don't know if it's going to be like that much, but I'm sure if I really hunker down on it and I thought about it, if I had the time, I would do videos and videos and videos. I mean, I do content days and I like try to bank up as much as I can. But if I was constantly posting and posting and posting and people were seeing me over and over again and they're like, I need that product, I'm sure I could make a real big chunk of change. But right now I'm like, I do it for fun. And my students are always looking for products or what works for them and what doesn't. And I now know what works for me and I can represent a good quality of product and offer it to them. I mean, even in the executive protection world, I'm sponsored by, not sponsored, but partnered up with N-Ear, the earpieces, the wire ones. And I just got done doing a detail in the head of the security. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, she was wearing them. I'm like, let me hook you up with the owner, Mike. They'll take care of you and everything else. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, give them my name, give them my discount code, just go for it. So, I mean, we all know what works for us. And I'm just fortunate that these products that I absolutely love are saying, hey, will you represent me? Well, like represent our company.
I mean, think about this. Times have changed so dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2008, when I got into this industry, that would never happen. And because you have all these social media platforms, now EP agents can make money being ambassadors for these companies that want to be seen. It's like there's so many, I'm not going to name names on this podcast out of respect to what you're doing, but there's certain individuals in the industry that are doing that or make it all like they're basically professional athlete.
Yeah.
And congrats to you for, hey, capitalizing on that. We live in a free market society, free enterprise, which allows us in our society to do that. So, congrats to you for pulling that off.
I like it is cool. I'm not going to lie. It is cool where I'm sitting here, maybe just talking to you and somebody's using my discount code right now on a product. And I'm like, ching, there you go.
And so you have multiple partnerships you have with different companies.
Gators, Savior Equipment I just got. I have a medical company, ACT. There's another medical company that I want to talk to pretty soon to get involved with. I have N-Ear. I have CERT guns, the NLT CERT guns, training guns. I got them. Taser, Axon Taser. And I'm sure I'm forgetting Grunt Style. Grunt Style has been really great to me. They've been really good to me. And I think and I have a couple holster companies on there.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
And what you do is you're on the field doing your training and you just wear their gear.
100%. Put them in my photos. I mean, honestly, I should be having all the products around me right now, but
all good.
I'm like, that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
So a lot of people are like, oh, you're so lucky and everything else. But what people don't understand behind the scenes and what I do, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that go involved with it. I mean, I wish I had the folder to show you. I have a binder of like content days that I've already put together of like, this is what we need to film. This is what I need to do. So that way I can already do like 6 months out. Like I'm already thinking about Christmas. Like, what are my posts going to be? Because in June, I got to start filming for all of that, for all those products. And with me traveling, because I'm getting busier with work, I have to make sure that I get all these posts up and they are scheduled posts while I'm working.
So you have several businesses, basically. If you think about it, you have your training company, which is what you roll around the dirt, shooting your stuff. That's what you're passionate about. They kick people in the butt. You love that. You like getting dirty and black eye. You just love it.
I do. I'm sick. I'm a sick individual. Like I get a bruise. Oh my God. I mean, one of the funny stories. Okay, here's a funny story. I was dating this guy when I first started doing like Krav Maga. I broke my nose. I took an elbow to my nose and I was like, I finished class, by the way. So I get home and I go straight to the cabinet and I'm looking for whiskey. And in his house, he only had like Southern Comfort. And so I was like, all right, whatever. So I take the Southern Comfort and I start downing the Southern Comfort and I go into the bathroom and I'm like totally putting my nose back into place. And he's like looking at me mortified. And I'm like, hey, does that look straight now? And he's like, oh my God, you just did not do that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all right. I will never forget that. That was probably, well, I mean, and then when I met my husband, I was going through, and I was becoming an instructor, I think for phase B instructor. Mm-hmm. Well, I broke my rib or it was out of place or something. And he comes home and I'm out there on the carpet doing break falls, trying to put my rib back in place because I knew I had 3 more days of phase. And he's like, I don't know what I got myself into, he said.
Wow.
You know, and that day on, he always laughs because I come home with bruises all over, or I'm like, hey, like I got hit with force on force, like the sim rounds. I'm like, babe, look how cool this is. And he's like, oh my God, you know, people are going to think I'm beating you. I don't know.
What does your husband do for a living?
He's a police officer. He's a police officer. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So, wow. So it's in the family. It's in your DNA. It's what you guys do. Protect people.
We are protectors. And, you know, and it's cool. My little daughters are now starting to become little like mini me's, little protectors. It's really cool to see that, you know. They don't really know how to, they know that daddy's a police officer. So whenever they see like the cop cars and stuff, they're like, woo, woo-woos, woo-woos. And because they like the sirens. And so they're always around the house playing cops and robbers. So I always laugh.
How cool is that?
And it's cool to raise, you know, I was bummed. I really wanted a boy, but then like now having all girls, I am so ecstatic. And watching them grow up and seeing me do jujitsu, seeing me roll around on the dirt, seeing me do like Krav Maga, seeing me shoot guns, understanding that. I mean, these girls are seeing such a different world than what I was brought up on. You know, we didn't, I mean, I wish my mom put me in martial arts when I was their age. You know, my daughter's she's 10 years old. She's a goalie. She's taking cleats to her face and she's like rubbing her face like with this look like, I will cut you. Don't you dare ever do that again. And, you know, and that's her jiu-jitsu background. That's mom. That's me teaching her how to fight. I mean,
mindset.
Yeah. And
at a young age.
At 10. I didn't have that at 10. I probably ran into something and stubbed my toe and I was probably like meltdown dramatic. Nowadays, I'll be like, whatever. Walk it off.
Walk it off. Wow. How do you do it all? People are probably wondering in the audience, how does she do all this stuff? I mean, Josh Hill, you're busy. You're an ambassador for all these companies. You're a mom. You're the EP industry. How do you balance it all?
You know, I get this question a lot. I'm thankful that my husband actually, I told him just recently I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks, maybe 3. And he's like, okay. He's like, do you have a babysitter lined up? I'm like, yeah. But honestly, I try to do, so when the kids are at daycare or babysitting, I'll do my training. I do my interviews. I'll talk. I'll do everything that I could possibly do, like private lessons, whatever I could possibly do while I'm not taking their time up. That's one thing with the kids. As far as my husband goes, whenever I get back from a detail, we always do like day dates. We don't do night dates because it's just too hard for babysitting. But we do like a day date. We golf together. I love golfing. I don't know if people know that, but I love golfing. I love being on the golf course. I'm terrible at it, but I love it. And then we make a day out of the month that we go and get massages and just reevaluate each other. Like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what you're doing. Where are we at with that? So that's how I kind of find my balance with all of that, or I would be either divorced or insane.
You have to find time to check out.
I do, you know, and I always tell people, like, after I get home from in detail, I'm not making any decisions until I get a full cycle of sleep because I'm done. I mean, that adrenaline dump just,
yeah.
And I want to be turned off. I don't want to be on all the time. And, you know, when I am on a detail, I'm on, you know, even sleeping, that moment when I'm about to like get in that deep sleep and your body jumps, I'm like, okay, any noise, that's just my mindset. That's how, I don't know if that's how I was trained. That's what it was. Maybe my background. I don't know, but that's that light switch. So when I get off on anything like my job, I just wanted to turn the phone off. And that's why I apologize to so many people. You guys, if you're hearing this, again, I apologize. I am not ignoring you. I'm just trying to figure out, because sometimes I get so overwhelmed with people coming at me that I don't know how to really respond to everybody all at once, because I just shut down. I need that sleep, I guess you would say. Like, I just need to unwind.
You have to unwind because you have, like you said, you have to do a download. Like for me, I have to take Sunday off. I have to totally check out.
Yeah.
Because I'm running my security company, Rebel Security Group, which you can see the banner back there. I got that going. We're staffing stuff nationwide and sometimes globally. Mm-hmm. And I have a team behind me that does stuff. And then something they call me, Mark, what do we do? And then I got podcasts. I had people reach out to me at LinkedIn. Folks, I have at least 10 emails a day just off LinkedIn, people wanting to come on the show. And then they have nothing to do about the fearless mindset. They just want to be pitched. And then I'm like, well, I'm backlogged 2 months right now.
That's
and people that are, yeah, that's really good. And I now have a team with Salescast that they're actually taking over my Facebook. They're taking over my Instagram. They're taking over my TikTok stuff because I don't have time. Like you, Renee, your client's strapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they take over and said, Mark, we're taking over your stuff. I'm like, thank God. I don't have enough time and you don't have enough time. And so we have to delegate these responsibilities and you have to have time to download. You have to. Otherwise you burn out.
You do.
And people that are most successful, they figured out how to download 2 days where they just completely check out.
And that's pretty much what I do. And I also again, I go back to the golf thing because that is my time to unwind, and I always, my elevator pitch is like, I do badass stuff. And they're like, what? And I go on about what I do for real fast. And then my ending is, yeah. And when I'm not kicking ass, I'm on the golf course drinking margaritas.
You're living life, and life is short and you realize that.
It is. It really is. And that's one thing about executive protection too. There's no way in hell I'll be able to afford flying in a jet, but I get to do it. I get to stay in nice hotels. I get to see things that nobody else would be able to see, like going into different security clearances and rooms and just this stuff, the traveling. I would never have been able to go to South Africa. I would never have been able to go to London or, anywhere like around the United States as well. But there are cons.
There are cons.
But you live once.